Ms. Esch was requesting to speak on it.
Are there any public comments on item number 1?
Hello. I'm the only audience member today. Lots of empty chairs out here. And it's probably because nobody posted an agenda out there on the meeting board. So I don't know how the people in this town that doesn't get Wi-Fi service is supposed to know when there's a public meeting. That's a big Brown Act violation. Shouldn't be a meeting tonight. Thank you.
Do we have any public comments on the...
We do not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, item number 2. Approval of Locke Management Corporation, September 11, 2023 minutes. Do we have any public comment? Do we have any board member comments on the minutes? Do we have any online?
No online.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from September 11th, 2023. All those in favor?
Aye.
Or should we do roll call vote?
We can do a roll call.
Okay?
Okay. Member Wu?
Yep.
Member Lum?
Yes.
Member Giles?
Yes.
Member Prosser?
Yes.
Chair Walthall?
Yes.
Member Heath?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Thank you. Treasurer's report, agenda item number 3.
Okay, as of the end of October of 2023, we had for October income of $2,830, totaling for $2,840, excuse me. We had expenses of $2,096, and we had a net income for the month of $745. We finished the month with $49,720 in the bank. Should I deal with the...
Yeah, you could at least
Yeah.
announce.
Yeah, so one of the other things that got in late today is the budget. So we've got a proposed budget for the upcoming year 2024. If you look in the packets that Manuel provided today, you'll see the proposed budget for next year. And there are just a couple of things that I'd like to point out on there that are of note that went up. We had a slight increase in common area supplies, things for the tap into the bathrooms and little supplies around town, bags and things like that. The two main increases from 2003 into 2004 are the insurance policies. And we arranged for our new D&O policy last month, and it went up a fair bit. It went up from about $1,300 to $2,100. And we have got our liability policy coming due at the end of January, the beginning of February. And so they couldn't give me a number on that thing, but using, a similar increase, which I'm sure is probably going to be at least that much. We're going to be moving from $730 up to about $1,200 in our liability policy. So with everything else, insurance has been going up quite a bit in the last year or so. And we're seeing that in our two policies here for the towns. Other than that, the numbers are about the same as they were in 23. This is the proposed budget, and you can find it in the packet. So we'll be dealing with this thing at a later meeting.
So the insurance both will go up about 1,000. The combination of the two will go up about 1,000.
That's right.
Do you have any public comment?
Yes. This is really hard to read. Gray on gray, and it's kind of blurry. It looks like a photograph off of a cell phone or something. Does it in any way, in your opinion, begin to comply with the Davis-Sterling Act Code Sections 5570 and 5530 for proposed budgets and their distribution to the general membership and the insurance information? Does it in any way begin to, because it doesn't appear to me? Anybody? How about you two lawyers on the end? 5570, Davis-Sterling Act, CCP. Pro forma budget with insurance information. Who's the insurance carrier?
Do I have to remind you this is public comment, not question and answer?
You know, I send in questions. You refuse to answer public record requests. I have sent in so many public record requests. You can ask Manuel. He knows because I also send them to the county. The county answers some of them, but you guys refuse. The LMA or the Locke LMA at gmail.com refuses to answer me any questions whatsoever in the past 4 years. You do not answer public record requests. And I am very specific, and I put a time frame on my public record requests. And Mr. Walthall, you bully people for asking repeated questions at your board meetings here. Actually, they're not your board meetings, you're not even elected. Not elected, and you termed out last December 31st, 2022.
Any comments on the computer?
If any members of the public online would like to make a public comment on item number 3, please press *9. You have no hands raised.
Okay, any comments by the board?
I have one, it's a question more than a comment. I would note that the common area maintenance gardener, is that for the entire town and all the work done, not just the garden area, the community garden area, correct?
Yeah, he also does here next to the boarding house, the slope area over here. He's also responsible for tree trimming.
Okay,
Not the big stuff.
that just seemed high given the insurance rates that let me say it differently. This line item is the largest one, and so we're not.
Yeah, $675 a month.
Yeah, so I just was curious about what all was involved. So thank you.
And we're gonna do, Joe and I are meeting with Oscar, that's the name of our maintenance guy, and walking through to double check what is on his contract. And we also have lines on other landscapers too.
Okay, thank you.
So you kind of have to, stay on top of it and keep these
Oh, for sure.
folks on their toes.
I understand.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Thank you for your report, Joe. Agenda item number 4, further action pertaining to the health and safety issues with the Wah Lee and the Star Theater buildings. Are there any public comments? Any online?
You see no hands raised online?
Okay, a little catch up. The Star Theater is pretty much handled, taking care of their ivy problem. There's still some way up there in the fire suppression system. The Wah Lee has done some extensive work on the inside of the building. They brought in the dumpster and pretty much filled it up. Lauren Fong has stated that he is going to replace windows rather than cover windows. It could be a little bit of a concern, making sure if he does put in new windows, they conform to SPA. But we haven't seen any more work being done regarding the windows over there. So that's the only thing I can report regarding the Wah Lee. Any of the board members have any comments or questions about the Wah Lee or the Star?
I do actually. The windows. What you used an acronym or something? What was it compliant to?
Pardon me now?
The windows that they will eventually they'll do the windows and then instead of boarding it up, you said whether they'll be compliant. What was the term you used for the windows?
SPA, Special Planning Area Ordinance.
Oh, okay. Because I have. My assumption was, or I had heard many years ago, that they had to be replaced with, casement style windows And there are a lot of places, even my building, that have the old 70s, metal, or even
plastic.
or plastic or
Yeah.
vinyl or all that. So is that part of it, that they really should do the original style casement
Yeah.
windows?
Yeah,
Okay. And is there some sort of because when Virgil replaced a lot of those windows, he was not compliant.
I know.
So-
There's a number of items that were not compliant.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, and we have the ability to go after them for that reason, right? And to make that right?
Well, to bring it up, Virgil's building was, Locke Management Association did deal with the county. With his bracings and whatnot, the county approved them.
Really?
Yep, they did.
But that doesn't mean that we have to approve it because it's part of our,
I know, but the county supersedes us.
really?
Even back at that time, Deckback superseded the Locke Management Association. So that's not the case anymore.
Okay, good. That was 8 years ago, 7.5 years ago or so, that the fire
Right
happened?
after
in
the fire, which
Right,
was,
okay.
yeah, 16.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question about the building. There was some concerns about postings, public information.
Yeah,
You
that's
said
another
decided
agenda
to-
item. It's a little
Okay.
farther down. Okay, so that's not an action item. We don't need to take action on that. Okay, formation of agenda item number 5, formation of a nomination committee for the 2024 board member election. Do we have any public comment?
I'm thrilled to see a start for an actual board election, since there hasn't been an actual board election with any validity ever in the history of this organization since it started in 2004. There have been 3 board elections over the past 18 years, but the board members themselves distributed, collected, handled, and counted their own ballots. And even at the very last one of the board members held up each secret ballot for Mr. Bealey's camera to record. And they acted as their own third-party inspector of elections. You can't do that. You have to have 1 or 3, I think it is, inspectors of elections. 5105, I think, is the code section. Board member elections, common interest development. Thank you. And nominations is one of the first things, but inspector of elections should probably also be on this agenda, and a timeline. I believe it's about a 5-month timeline to going through all of the steps to have a valid legal election. I don't know that you folks should be actually conducting the election since you're not elected. Perhaps some of the property owners, the general members that the board is supposed to represent, should be nominating people. Thank you.
I'll call for board comments and questions after I explain a little bit about what's going on here. We want to form a nomination committee and have it in place this month. Do we have any volunteers from the board for being on the committee?
I'll do that. We did that the last time. It was Joe and myself, right? Joe?
Joe and I will be
And
on
you?
that committee too.
Okay.
Eric, would you be amenable for us to run anything legal by you or check the verbiage?
Yeah, I'm happy to participate both as a committee member and if you want
Thank you.
my perspective on any of the legalities.
Good.
So we've got 4 then?
Yeah,
Ginny, me, Stuart, and
and Eric, yeah.
Very good.
All right, and we'll be corresponding with each other. I will bring up we want to make sure, we being the Locke Management Corporation, to be in line with Davis Sterling. One issue that we want to make sure conforms is eligibility for nomination. For instance, our own bylaws state that people who are behind X number of months are not eligible to vote. So we want to make sure that conforms with what's going on with Davis Sterling. Because the first thing that will go out will be the nomination forms. There will be all 3 chairs, seats open for the Locke Residential, and 2 seats for commercial. The general Locke Management Corporation does not vote on the seats that get approved by Sacramento County, so they won't be on that nomination. The nomination form for the 3 choices for each seat and the eligible nominees will go out with this mailing. Are there any other questions by the board regarding this? Well, thank you for volunteering.
Chair Walthall? Stuart? Since we have this as an action item and you're performing an action of forming a committee, I would advise putting a motion on the floor to get approved.
To approve the
formation
nomination committee?
Correct.
Okay. Could we do that, please? I make a motion that we approve this nomination committee consisting of Eric Heath, Jeannie Giles, Joe Pross, and Stuart Walthall.
Second.
Did we get a second?
Yep.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Okay. So, Member Wu?
Yep.
Member Lum?
Yes.
Member Giles?
Yes.
Member Prosser?
Yes.
Chair Walthall?
Yes.
Member Heath?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6, action regarding the Locke Fire Suppression Certification process. The second letter, well, I'll call for public comment. Do we have any comments online?
Any members joining via Zoom, please hit star 9 now if you wish to make a public comment on item number 6. No hands raised?
I'll expand a little bit on this. It contained in the agenda package is a second letter gone out to the L.M.C. membership. This one being a bit more specific regarding items that the Walnut Grove Fire Department found have yet to be rectified. This is mostly vegetation. The Walnut Grove Fire Department is going to do another walkthrough on Thursday, November 30th. Our goal was to have the certification process, if not completed, at least begun by the company by the 30th, by the end of December. We're just really hoping, especially the 4 items that were placed in the letter, the 4 building owners would address the problems that they still have, that they didn't rectify after the first letter. The first letter was in the Locke Management Association, Locke Management Corporation agenda package, and it was also snail mailed to the membership. The second one we're not snail mailing. So without these corrections being made, and we don't get certified, there's a good possibility the state fire marshal could step in. And the Walnut Grove Fire Department, and we certainly don't want to see that happen. But if that happens, it could get serious around here. This is Locke, it's all wood. Businesses could be affected. Insurance certainly could be affected. So we're doing the best we can. we'll probably do a personal outreach, a more personal outreach to the building owners where these problems still persist. That's what's going on with that. It's serious business, and we just hope that for the sake of public safety for our town, that the folks that live in town here, particularly on Main Street, will take care of the problems with their buildings. Do we have any board comments or questions?
I do
Public
actually-
comment?
I've asked at the last 3 board meetings that you trim the coral tree that juts out through the wires beside my building. Ms. Giles talked about that. Yes, it definitely needs trimming at the last 1 or 2 board meetings. I don't know
I'd
why
like
you
us
guys
to
ignore
address
that
that.
fire
Excuse me,
hazard.
Martha.
I'm sorry, I thought I had 3-minute public comment.
I would like you to address it during the agenda item where we talk about
This is fire
town
hazards, right?
about town maintenance. If you could bring it up at that time, we could address it.
I'll repeat myself. Thank you for asking.
Okay, any more comments?
We have no hands raised?
Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 7, discussion regarding Locke Water Works Company. Are there any public comments? Any online?
See no hands raised in the Zoom?
This is a real broad subject. It's more than water. Locke Water Works also has control of our fire suppression for the pump house, for the relay system that lets us know that Locke Management Corporation pays for Certifier, which daily monitors our communication system between the pump and the Locke Management Corporation. It doesn't work. So it's the hard lines are in the redundancy line don't work. So again, Locke Management Corporation pays for Certifier, but Locke Water Works is responsible for. Well, Joe, could you explain that a little bit better than I am?
Yes. Just to give a slight overview, there are 2 phone lines that start in the pump house, and they communicate with Certifier. Certifier is a company that checks on the health of that communication. That's their job. We are their account at the Locke Management Corporation, so we pay for that part of it. These phone lines are breaking down. They are on Frontier's lines, and they are breaking. We've had this problem in the past, and it's been good for about the last year or more. But the lines again are starting to break down. Frontier is not really supporting landlines anymore. So, but we don't have any control over getting those things repaired. The repair on those landlines through Frontier is through Locke Water Works. So, when there's a miscommunication, we get notified, but that there's been a miscommunication. And that happens every day. Every day Certifier pings the lines and makes sure that the lines are open and there's communication established. So we can send people out, or I did this in the past, and got people out there to look at these lines, but it's really not our job to do this. It's Locke Water Works. They need to do this. They need to get out there and have Frontier go out and repair these lines, establish communication. So that's where we are right now. We've tried to find other means of communication. One of them is radio. The other one would be cellular. Now, we've explored those in the past, a couple of years ago, but neither one of them, we're in sort of a dead hole right here. And both of those means of communication are as iffy right now as the landlines, and we've got the landlines established. So that's what we've been using. So, but the bottom line is that Locke Water needs to get Frontier to get in there and get techs in there and figure out what is going on.
Thank you. Now, regarding us getting water from Walnut Grove, it's still a mystery. Eric?
I'd like to discuss what Joe just described before we move on to the interconnect. So, the water company is a public utility. It's a small water company. It has regulatory obligations, as we see from attachment from the State Water Resources Control Board, attachment to the agenda. So that's one thing, and maybe we can talk about that separately. But with regard to the certifier, the control, the checking on the lines and the ability to communicate between the pump house and the water system, Frontier is also a public utility. Frontier, I believe, is regulated by the California Public Utilities Commission, and notwithstanding their unwillingness to invest in physical plant, landline operations, switches, etc., around here in this rural part of the state, they still have a legal obligation to do that. And so I think in the greater context of the public safety for the residents of Locke and for the maintenance of the water, the fire suppression system, the water works, everything, I think the Locke Management Corporation should send a letter or some communication to the regulator of Frontier requesting, and perhaps we do this in conjunction with Locke Water Works since they are the ones responsible, but I do think we need to have an official communication from the board or from the L.M.C. to the regulator saying that what is happening is both insufficient and potentially puts residents and certainly property at risk, and ask them to have a look, or to have them ask Frontier to respond as to why this can't work or isn't working.
PUC.
Yeah, certainly the PUC, and we can certainly, maybe as a first step, we should ask Frontier or whoever, like I said, coordinate this with Locke Water Works, because the idea that a building could catch fire and the sprinklers wouldn't go off because the phone line is down is absolutely ridiculous. So, anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Part of that communication is to the fire department. What would probably not happen because of that would be the fire department would not be called.
Certainly, right.
So
yeah.
There are two things.
Right, okay, I'm sorry. So not just the sprinkler system, but also the fire department. Right, yeah. And I'm happy to draft the letter and to send it around for people to look at. Happy to volunteer for that one.
Reaching out to you.
Okay. Sorry, so on to the interconnect.
Thank you.
The other big thing.
I have comments and questions actually, after the public.
Pardon me?
Oh, I have some things some questions to ask after everybody's done, public comment and,
Okay.
yeah.
So, we also published the letter from, let me get it over here. The State Water Resources Control Board. This was to Kathy Chandler, who apparently is the president of Locke Water Works. The other two members of Locke Water Works are Clarence Chu and Dustin Marr. And to be honest, I am not sure if Clarence Chu has even seen this letter. Hopefully he will have seen this letter in the agenda package if he opened it up and took a look at it. It's rather complex, but it deals with our drinking water. I had a talk with Clarence. He did assure me that he meets once a month with the water board to discuss what's going on. The project of bringing, which includes bringing the water in from Walnut Grove. I can't give you an update on what's happening with that, any kind of a timeline. I do know that when Locke Water Works got the contract for the bottled water, they figured that they had, the contract I think was for 3 years, I could be wrong on that, but that was going to be enough time for us to get linked into the Walnut Grove water system, which it didn't. And consequently a new contract had to be written up and submitted and approved for bottled water, and apparently we're still waiting on that. So to me it's a rather serious letter, a January 6, 2023 letter from the State Water Resources Control Board, but I don't know if it's been acted upon. So I invite you all to read it. Jenny, do you have some comment?
Oh, I just wanted to talk about Frontier, being a Frontier user, and their culpability for what I believe we have a contract, they provide a service, they don't actually provide a service. I've gone as long as 3 weeks at a time without any internet, which causes me to have to go do offline sales with the hope that that person has money in their account, because when I am back online, it could be there's no money there. Yeah. It also, I incur extra charges as a result of that. I have never been able, even though there's 3 weeks, almost a full billing period, and I'm around $65 with them, $59, $65, it changes. They've only ever credited me $13 at a time. So I think that there's some legal stuff that they're not doing correctly. And after doing some research, they're notoriously bad throughout the United States. It's not just our area. Yep. I'm wondering, since you now, I understand, have wired, if that's a possibility for the cellular connection to just completely abandon Frontier, because they're awful.
Joe just had a conversation with Certifier about that. If you could explain.
Sure. It was one of the first things I mentioned to them when I spoke to them the other day, and it's not compatible with, because they are VoIP, voice over internet protocol.
I have no idea what that is, but.
And so what it is, it's like your internet. So we'd have to have, if it were going to be, we would have to have a modem installed over there in the pump house, and so when you call over wired, you use the internet to make a phone call.
Right.
There's a whole different protocol. It's not like cellular. It's not like LAN.
Oh, okay.
So, and I asked them about that. I'm going to follow up with them about that, because what I would like to do is try to get, look at what it is that get with the text and get the unwired people and Certifier sort on the same phone call and see if it's a possibility. Because it seems to be the more sure, because radio is inconsistent and cellular is inconsistent in this pocket over here.
Right.
So I did approach it, but the first reaction I got of information was that it was not compatible, but I will follow up.
But yeah, with the modem, it seems like that would be, that wouldn't be a big deal, right? To get a modem over there, and there's their electricity, obviously, so yeah, I'll be curious to find out.
I'm going to follow up on that, but I want to have the unwired people and the Certifier people in the same call to be able to work out
What's,
problems.
yeah, okay, great.
I'm not as technical as it would require that.
As the view.
But it's being looked into.
Because are there actually any other companies that do traditional landlines around here? It's just-
Frontier as a public utility has exclusive territorial market. So it's their plant. They get to recover through their rates, guaranteed rate of return on their investment, which has long since been paid off, and they're unwilling to reinvest because now they're just skimming the cream.
Right,
And so, yeah, there are no landline competitors to Frontier.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
I'm going to go back to public comment. I did get a text from Angie, and she got over here as quickly as she could regarding this agenda item.
And this is for item
And
7?
if it's okay,
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
going to open up public comment again. This is agenda item number 7, Locke Water Works.
Okay. I'm Angie Eng, and I'm actually the daughter of Alex Eng and Joyce Eng, who were also on the original Locke Management Association way back when, and I am a new resident. So I just found out right before I moved in that there is high arsenic levels in the water. So I had asked Clarence what's up with that, and he said that the contract renewal is pending. And then I got word of a letter that was written to Kathy Chandler last year, and it was decided by the county that they would take over for the water because of a lack of effective response to the water crisis here. So I wanted to see what the LMA was doing about the water, and I have already written to Governor. I've already written to the representatives here in Walnut Grove. I've already written to all the Water Board County members who signed that letter. I haven't had a response yet. I wrote that letter, the original letter, to the governor and the representatives about 4 weeks ago. I haven't followed up on it because I wanted to see what was happening with the Locke Water Works as well as the LMA, and what actions are being put in place to accelerate this. Hold on for 1 second. Okay. The response I got was that people can buy their own water, and I felt that that wasn't really fair and equitable for the children and the seniors in Locke. A 5-gallon tank of water is actually quite heavy to carry up a flight of stairs, and for children, it's about $7 a gallon to fill the water. And if you're a family of 5, that's about 19.6 bottles of 5 gallons, or 98 gallons that a family would need to drink for cooking as well as drinking, and that equals about $140 a month. So when people told me, well, it's cheap, it's actually not that cheap. For me, I brush my teeth and I drink bottled water as well as cook with it, and it's about $35, not including the gas to go fetch the water. So it is an expense for the residents that they've been accruing for the last 11 months. So I just was wondering what the LMA will do concerning that letter that was received recently, even though it was dated, I think it was in January, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, it was dated in January, and Clarence Chu also said he has not seen the letter and doesn't know about it, so that was interesting. And I don't know if Dustin Marr, who's also part of Locke Water Works, is aware of that letter. So anyway, if the Locke Management Association would like to comment on or add to what they have done in the last 11 months, instead of just asking Clarence Chu, has the contract been signed? Because obviously the county will not sign a contract if they've already voted to take over the local water. So thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more board comments regarding this?
I have a comment with respect to what Angie had mentioned. September 14th, Sacramento County Supervisor Patrick Hume and the Apapa chapter, Delta chapter, had convened a meeting at Gene Harvey School. And in that meeting, 3 of our board members attended, President Warthall, Member Prasad, and myself. And members or representatives from the State Water Resources Control Board were there. So I made an appeal that the state needs to come and help the town of Locke with expediting that contract so that the residents will have fresh water, bottled water. And County Supervisor Hume said that he would follow up. But to this point, we're not quite sure what has happened. But we did appeal to the public that was there because of the unsafe drinking water conditions.
Thank you.
Could I ask a question? Am I on?
Any other comments by the board?
I have a couple comments. You can get it at the gas station for 50 cents a gallon. I totally want the water. I really miss it. And I feed all the animals in town with good water. I cook with it. It's the same thing that you do, but you can get it right there at the gas station. I have a bunch of gallon containers that I do. My fear has always been that some of the Hispanic population that don't understand are possibly drinking the water, or they, like you said, it's either too heavy or maybe they can't carry it themselves. So that's why I just do the gallon. So just go to the gas station, they're a little receptacle. We've been without that water for a couple of years now. So it's been more than 11 months.
Yeah, we live in a town where the water doesn't meet federal regulations, and it appears that we're out of luck right now. So
I have a comment whenever, I mean, go ahead, Joe.
Well, with the communique that we hope to be making to Clarence about the Frontier, with respect to this, if you remember, Clarence appeared here, I think it might have been in May, and he said that the contract with for the providing water to the town of Locke was in the works. And I think that he said that it was probably a couple of months, 3 months down the road, and probably I remember him saying October or so, might be at the time when a contract might be signed and they'll be able to start providing water again through the Locke Water Works, as they were doing in the past. We're now in November, and I think we should revisit that with Clarence.
I don't recall I recall that Clarence spoke at the meeting to discuss Locke Water Works. That was well after this letter was issued or sent. Obviously, if he has not seen it or hadn't seen it before it was mentioned to him recently, that speaks, I think, pretty loudly as to the integrity of the Locke Water Works corporate leadership. And I mean, if he hasn't seen it, and someone else I think on the board said hadn't seen it, who knows if Kathy Chandler has seen it. The person to whom it was addressed at a P.O. box, mind you, which I assume is the mailing address for the company. I would also propose, and I will also take the pen on this, writing a letter to both Locke Water Works as well as the State Water Resources Control Board to say, where are you? I mean, this has been pending since January. Clarence showed up here in May, didn't know about it. I'm a little bit like, I guess, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm very disappointed. And I think we should at least express that and see what they are willing to do on their own. And if we have to force it, we'll have to consider that at another time.
I agree. Not only do we have our local entity not acting on anything, but we've got a state agency not following through on things also.
Yeah.
thank you for offering to, Eric.
Can I make a comment? Am I allowed?
Okay, if there's no more comment on agenda item number 7.
Angie asked if she could make a comment.
Can I make one last comment?
Go ahead.
Is there a possibility, because there's a lot of Spanish...
You have to remember this isn't quite Q&A. This
What?
is comment.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. it would be great if we could have the results of the discussion on the water translated in Spanish and posted for the families who may not have news or updates on the water situation or the awareness of the consequences of having the children be drinking the water. So I could write that letter. I don't mind to write it, but I probably should get the approval of the L.M.A. and get that distributed to the Spanish-speaking people as well as it posted. I think that's really important that, I don't know how aware they are of doing it, and also the expense and the time it takes to go fetch the water is a burden. So I think that maybe that would be wise.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to have it pass through the L.M.A. or the procedure of something like that. But okay, it's a comment.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 8. Discussion regarding gravel road maintenance. Do we have any public comment? Are there any comments online?
I do not see any hand raised.
Do we have any comments from the board?
I have a comment. I did attend a meeting that was sponsored by County Supervisor Hume on September 13th at Gene Harvey, and the County Transportation Department folks were there. And so I conveyed to Supervisor Hume that we have a need here to pave the roads in the town of Locke. He said that he would look into that. He asked some of the Department of Transportation folks to take a look at what was the common area road, because they're responsible for that. And so I don't know if there was a follow-up to do any paving or put more gravel. And this was in September. So there were some cones out on the road here, probably the 3rd or 4th week in September, but I don't know what was done. So those folks that live in town might have seen any work done with the roads.
I did not.
No.
Is there any more comment from the board? Okay, let's move on. Agenda item number 9, discussion regarding the continuing problems with garbage cans stored in common area. Do we have any public comment?
My property, the footprint of my building is surrounded by common ground. Public easements, 2 public easements, and in the back, common ground alleyway. In the front, actually not common ground, but the sidewalk, that's a public easement, and then the county road. I don't know where I'm supposed to put my garbage cans if not on common ground. I'm not gonna bring them inside my restaurant. I refuse.
30 board comments.
Yes, I do have. May I speak? September 15th, I was on the phone for an hour and a half with the Waste Management Company. I was directed for the first hour all around the country. Nobody knew what to say. They had no idea how to deal with the situation. I finally landed in Sacramento, where the woman I spoke with was the most ridiculous human being I have ever dealt with. And ultimately, what I found out was because of the way where cans are, they want to be able to pick up all of the cans that are broken, have issues, or strays in front of each of the buildings that these cans belong to, which we don't know all of them. We know a lot of them are Virgil's cans. And I explained to them, they pick up here all the time, right? Tried to explain to this woman, this is where they're picked up. A local driver will know how to get there. That's where they all are. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever dealt with. So ultimately, I did find out the Virgil actually does not have an account with Waste Management. So all of those cans that belong to him, he's not even paying anything for any Waste Management.
He's got it done.
He doesn't, his building is not listed as being, yeah. So I've called and I did get a local number. She would not give me a local contact. She said it just goes to a general committee and then somebody from that committee will take care of it. I've called back many times to the number that I finally got from her. No response from anybody, so that's where we are.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
We did notice coming over here, there's only 2 cans in front of the restrooms. Today is garbage day, so.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Any other comments from the board? Okay, let's move on.
Actually, I'm sorry, I do have one more comment.
Okay.
If those cans could be put, there's no place up on top for me to put any cans, but if we could find a view or somebody in the back that has enough space to put those cans that we need to get rid of, the broken ones especially, then they will pick up from that person's location. You have to claim them as your own. It doesn't matter. The serial numbers are not allotted. They're not associated with a house. Strangely, they don't. I said I can give you. I've got a list of every single can number, what type of can. They don't work like that. They don't keep track of them that way.
You know, we pulled out the broken ones,
So if they were to go to somebody,
but where are they now?
oh, I haven't been back there lately. They're not back
Because
there.
I haven't seen them.
Oh, okay,
They might be gone.
okay.
We put them out the next week, they didn't get picked up, so the next week we turned them upside down. And they were still there. So, I'll get a check over there. I don't mind putting them by my house and put a sign on them, you know.
Okay, that'd be great. So yeah, if you get with me how many there are, or if you even find them, then I can arrange that hopefully.
I'll check that out.
Okay, thank you.
That's easy enough. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 10. Discussion regarding town of Locke maintenance. Martha?
The coral tree is still bumping up against my historic windows and building, and it's jutting out over Main Street about 6 or 7 feet through the wires. It's a fire hazard, we've been told. Not by Warren T-Tech or Dave, but by other firefighters who come through the town and other people involved with firefighting. They have mentioned it to me, and I've asked now I think 4 meetings in a row for the tree to be trimmed away from my building and from those wires. Thank you. Oh, and it would also be nice to have some help on the wood walkway between my building and Ning's, to have the maintenance person that's paid to clean the town here to come and help occasionally scrape the pigeon poop off of the wood walkway there. There's 2 piles of pigeon poop that are over towards the north side of that wood walkway. And I'm getting tired of cleaning it off every few days. Thank you. Oh, and raking the leaves on the other side of the building where there's the other public easement would be great. Some help with that would be nice.
Jenny and I walked over and checked out the coral tree. We're gonna have one of 2 tree cutting services come down here. One hopefully is a person we've actually thought about maybe doing town maintenance. We've kind of been checking him out to see what kind of work he does. So, also when the fire department was here, they checked out a lot of the trees that are along Levy Street and They're growing up into the power lines, and they were quite sure that it's SMUD's responsibility to cut those trees. So, both those things will be handled. Anybody on the board have anything else to say?
Yeah, I do. There are a lot of things that I identify around town that need to be fixed and repaired and maintenance done on them. But I also understand that those things cost money to get done. And and when people don't pay assessments, we have less money to spend on repairs and maintenance around town. So, I just want to make the board aware of that these things do cost money, and that money only comes from assessments. So if we can't collect assessments from people, we have less money to spend on repairs and maintenance.
Thank you.
I have a comment as well. Honey, you'd mentioned that you got a blower, or you're going to get a blower. This was months ago because of the, keeping the town clean with a blower. Do you remember that?
Yes,
Okay.
I do remember, because Clarence mentioned that he bought a blower, and then this past summer I bought a blower too.
Okay.
So I could actually bring that.
Yeah, that would be really, really helpful. I have not done anything with the park because I have no green waste. All my green waste has been used by my neighbor's new tenants. So I don't even have a place to put green waste right now. So that's why it looks like.
Okay. So our L.M.C. doesn't have any tools at all for the public to use, like,
The L.M.C. doesn't keep tools.
okay. I think it would be a good idea to have a set of tools so that our residents who are helping us out for cleaning the town could have access to tools, basic broom, dustpan.
I've got all that, but the blower would definitely be helpful, yeah. And I'm also, I've been out of pocket for garbage bags for well over a year now, so it'd be great to have just a little extra money so I'm not having to pay for, the garbage bags as well as doing all the work.
What size garbage bags?
They're the metal cans, they're 25 I want to say, but I'm not sure about that.
That could actually be added on to our budget, line item budget. That's the same thing for
Poop bags.
restroom supplies.
Yeah, okay, I'll let you know for sure.
Those
I
are
want to
what,
say it's
30
25
gallon?
gallon.
Is that what those
25,
are?
30 gallons, yes.
Right. Okay, any other comments from the board regarding the Town of Locke maintenance? Okay. Agenda item number 11, discussion and approval of the Locke archway text. Any public comment?
Does this sign have a county sign permit? Did the Locke Management Corporation or Stuart Walthall apply to the county for a sign permit for a brand spanking
Again,
new
Martha,
sign
how many
that's
times do we have
never
to tell you
been?
this-
Go ahead
this
and bully
is
me,
not
Mr. Walthall.
Q&A.
This-
Do you want to make a public comment?
I'm making
Make
a public comment, yes I am.
Well, please make your comment.
I can make a comment as a question. I have that right. We have a Locke Special Planning Area Ordinance that I have had to go through for 2.5 years to get a sign permit to put the word Lockport on my sign. That was fought by this board. You have not applied for any sort of a sign permit with the county that I'm aware of, nor held a historic review process for this sign per the Locke Special Planning Area Ordinance. It's your own pet project, Mr. Walthall, and you'll do whatever you damn well please, like you have with the bronze plaques that you aimed at my building at 1265 Levy Road. With no sign permits or county permits or votes of the 32 general members of this town for our community parks, 2 of which have now been taken over completely by the Locke Foundation for their own agendas. Thank you.
Any public comments online?
I have no public comments online.
Okay. Any board members have any comments? It was suggested that it says Locke, California, EST 1915.
1893.
Do we have any public comments regarding the text for the proposed text for the sign?
Yes. I have a public comment. 1893 is when George W. Locke and Samuel P. Lavinson started the town of Lockport. It
Martha,
was
you've
not
had your opportunity
started.
for public comment. Would you please sit down?
You just asked for public comment for the text of the sign. Are you changing your mind?
Would you please sit down?
Sure.
Okay. What I call for is any kind of agreement or other suggestions for the text on that sign.
It's just going to be painted on, right?
Pardon me, Dick?
Just going to be painted on?
Yeah.
I think it says exactly what it needs to. This is the town of Locke. Simple and to the point.
Jenny, what do you think?
Well, not knowing of what Martha speaks, if we do need to do that, and go through that process of historic review, how does that work? I've never been a part of that. I don't know how that works.
Well, there is a lock and design and review process in place. Back in the L.M.A. days, it was folded into, the Lock Design and Review Committee is the Locke Management Corporation Board of Directors. It's not a separate committee. So.
And I think the verbiage is appropriate because it's part of that language with the California State Parks brochure for the boarding house museum when Locke was founded, 1915.
Okay. So, we don't have to, this thing has been brought up each meeting. I want to suggest that we bring a mock-up so that we could all take a look at what it would look like. The funds are in place, which would be paid for by the Locke Foundation. So, the next meeting, the January meeting, we will have a mock-up where everybody can take a look. And in the meantime, if you have other suggestions, bring them up.
I have a question about that. How, if it becomes electrified, who pays, how does that get routed into, how is it paid for, the electricity for it?
Well, it would be run into Mark Miller's, and they're each 1 watt bulbs, and it's pretty cheap.
Oh, okay.
So he would be reimbursed. We would have to run a line over to his.
Okay.
Yep.
Chair, are you going to motion to continue the item? Is that what we're doing?
Pardon me?
Are we motioning to continue, or?
Yeah.
I know you mentioned the
To
general.
continue.
Okay, so that would have to be brought forth with the motion and the second, so we can vote on that.
To continue.
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we continue this till our January
Second.
meeting. Eric seconds it.
Okay, Member Wu,
Yes.
Member Lum,
Yes,
Member Giles,
Yes.
Member Prosser,
Yes.
Chair Walpole,
Yes.
Member Heath,
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Okay, agenda item number 12, discussion regarding the final map of Lot A or portion of Locke Road. Do we have any public comment? Do we have any comments from the board? Sorry, do we have any online?
We do not.
Okay.
My comment here is only, what is the, what is, like, there was no supporting documentation, I can't remember. Like, I know we talked about, like, whose responsibility is it? Is the county, is it the L.M.A., who pays it? Like, we already talked about the graveling and the pay, like, what are we talking about?
We're talking about this road, the gravel part that runs to the end of the garages.
And we suspect that's county.
Yep,
And
we're supposed to
and they
be
need to
informed
maintain it.
about that. We do, we have supplied a county map previously showing that it is county property and it's their responsibility.
And we want them to do what with it?
Well, they would first and foremost find out if they're responsible for maintaining it, because that's the pothole place.
Okay, how about we draft another letter, which I will also take the pen on and say what's
All
going
right.
on.
It's easy enough to maintain.
But like, we want them to acknowledge that they're responsible for the maintenance, right?
Yeah, because it's their road.
And this was ambiguous in the past because, why?
Pardon me?
Why was this ambiguous in the past?
Because, well, it first came up when Supervisor Natoli came in and did asphalt on quote unquote the county road, which was our main street.
Okay,
And this area was never addressed, and it was a surprise to the county that it was on the map as a county
okay.
road. That road also runs along the side here.
Have we heard back from the gentleman who came to visit us regarding that? And, you know, he was supposed to follow through with, he wasn't certain at that point in
Yeah.
time. And I'm wondering if he's had any contact with anybody.
That's why I wanted to write a letter and say, hey, you were here 2 meetings ago, what's
Right.
going on?
Yep, that would be great. As soon as it starts raining, it's already developing potholes.
That'll happen this week.
Okay, agenda item 13, discussion regarding the hiring of a town manager. Are there any public comments?
We haven't had a town manager since, I believe it was Anna Paveo Zinn, prior to the pandemic, as I recall. But for some reason, we've been charged, we're getting charged $12,000 every year in your budget for a town manager. I think the 32 property members, or the ones who are paying their assessments, all these years are due a rebate from that $12,000 a year that they've been charged each of these years, that there has not been a town manager. And other things that they should be rebated for as well, including disparities in the rates charged to former board members for assessments. Thank you.
Do we have any comments online?
We do not.
Any comments from the board?
We received one resume. The person has a real estate background and is also bilingual and speaks Spanish. So he's expressed great interest to want to be part of the town of Locke and help the town out. So we're also consider other resumes.
Thank you.
How long ago did we receive that resume?
A couple weeks ago.
Okay.
There any
Probably
other
get back to
comments?
Yeah, well, I haven't seen it. It was the gentleman that you had
Ruben
here.
Sanchez, he
Okay.
was here at the board meeting
Right.
at the last meeting. Ruben Sanchez. His family's from Cortland area. Extensive real estate background.
Any other board comments? Moving along. Agenda item number 14, discussion regarding the Locke Management Corporation, CC&Rs, Article 2, Section 8, assignment of right of first refusal. Any public comments?
Is this item pertaining to 1258 Levy Road that is for sale? As of recently?
This is Article 2, Section 2.8.
I understand, the right of first refusal. Usually when somebody puts their building up for sale, the board agendizes it with the address, and then they normally make a motion on whether to exercise right of first refusal under 2.8 or not. That's why I'm asking, because I haven't received a notification card as an interested party for that building, as in 2.8 and 2.9 and bylaws section 5 or article 5 section 10 and 11.
Do we have any public comment online?
Nobody online?
Are there any board comments?
I have a comment. I'm not also sure why this is on here. If it does relate to a transaction with property, I could understand that, but I didn't see anything. If this is related to the conversation that was initiated several meetings ago by Mr. Yang, I would recommend that we close this item because it doesn't seem that there's much that we can or should do on this at this point.
I appreciate that.
So that's my comment.
Plus, regarding buildings for sale, in our bylaws and CC&Rs, whoever puts a building up for sale is supposed to notify Locke Management Corporation in writing. We have not received anything in writing. It's not our job to be proactive. We have to be reactive when it comes to what we receive when the board is notified of a building for sale, whether it's by the owner or the title company or the seller. Any other comments on the board?
Shouldn't we then follow through with a, I know, I understand exactly what you just said, but because we know it's up for sale and it's not legal by our bylaws, shouldn't we be sending the, it's Mark Marias that owns that, right? Or is it, Giannetti. Is that something that's traditionally done? If they're not compliant with what we typically do we send those letters out to those people who have not complied, or how's that normally done?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know of a situation when we have not been notified either by the owner, seller, or the title company.
So this is the first sort of scenario.
Yeah.
But we, going back to the way things have been done, we have to send out those letters, correct? To the descendants and ascendants of Locke after 1950, whatever the date is.
Pre-1953?
53, yeah.
Well, that's not on the agenda here.
Okay.
So, Joe?
Yes, I'd be willing to write to the two properties and get confirmation that they actually are up for sale,
Okay.
so that we could move this thing along. And the second thing is that Eric proposed that we remove this item from our agenda. What is the action we need to do that now?
Don't put it on next meeting agenda.
Great.
Does that do it?
Yeah, do we need to vote on it, to remove it?
No. We don't vote on the agenda.
Okay.
It seems to have played out.
I'll send letters to the two properties to try to find out if they actually are for sale and what their intent is, so that we can move that along also.
That's a good point.
Okay.
And then when we do hire a new town manager, part of the protocol would be that town manager would communicate with all the residents and owners of the town to remind them of requirements.
Right, well, they're both listed on the MLS listings, I mean, Joyce property and the Giannetti property. So I would think that that means they're officially up for sale. So,
Now, if there was a bid, if somebody put in an offer, then the title company is supposed to supply the CC&Rs and bylaws, or at least notify a potential buyer that this buildings in this town are subject to CC&Rs and bylaws.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Like after you get an offer.
Pardon me?
What you just said is correct in terms of process, in terms of informing the purchaser that the CC&Rs apply and that the right of first refusal is a factor. That is after listing or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, agenda item number 15. Discussion regarding signage being placed on the Wah Lee Building. Are there any public comments? Are there any comments online?
I do not have any comments on that.
Okay, well, as we've stated previously, Lauren Fong does not want people putting things up on his building. So, I suggest to help out our neighbor, Lauren Fong, we can just get a pre-made sign that says, "Don't post." Please don't place, don't post whatever the appropriate sign would be to get people to quit putting things up on that building. Does anybody have any comments on the board here?
I do, I have comments. I would love to have a bulletin board that was a public bulletin board instead of just this here, but someplace on Main Street. I mean, I could try to figure something out. I don't see any problem. I love bulletin boards, and mostly what's posted is, I post things, of course, on my store when I have an event and put flyers around, but it's great to see different things that are going on locally that people can have a place to post, and then the public also gets a sense that, oh, there's a vibrant community here. There are things going on to look for. So I like the idea of, I don't know why Lauren cares. I don't know that he's had any association with this town ever, has he? He didn't grow up here, it's his aunt's building, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know why he would care one way or the other, and I don't know what his plans are. I mean, is he gonna sell the building? Is he gonna do something with it?
I don't know. All I know is he doesn't want it on his building. So.
Yeah, I just would love to have a bulletin board. I don't know why, even if
Isn't there a bulletin board right here though?
yeah, but the public doesn't often go, they don't necessarily come here. They may not even know. I send people here all the time. They don't realize that this is a museum. How they don't realize, I have no idea. But to have something on Main Street, I'd be happy to try to figure out something to get it off of his building and have a public, our own neighborhood or local Delta, something.
Well, I've gone to, a number of small towns, teeny ones. There's generally a business of the bar or whatever that has all that upcoming concerts and all that other stuff going on.
Or on the front of the little grocery store, something like
Yeah,
that.
as far as the separate, town bulletin board, I don't know.
A couple weeks ago, I did pass by and I saw a lot of postings out there on the bulletin board. And this is after, of course, Miss Brenda, Deborah Brendo mentioned to L.M.C. board that there were a lot of postings there and it was unsightly. So I went and took down some of the postings and I moved some of them to this public bulletin board. The next day I drove by, there were more postings.
Yeah.
So these are postings in front of Strange Cargo Shop. And this is where Member Kirk has a business there.
Yeah, well, okay, and just from personal experience, it's much better to not scotch tape things on the town bulletin board on the outside. You know, they should be placed inside. Section 3, reports, announcements, and updates. L.M.C. representatives report. Report from residential building owner representative, that's me. I don't have a report. Is there any public comment? Any board comments? My report basically though is this fire suppression thing. That, as a residential building owner, that's what I'm concerned with. So, any online?
No one online?
Okay. Agenda item 17, report from commercial building owner representatives. That would be Eric.
Thank you, Stuart. I don't have, other than just the regular run of things going ahead, and we're open and we're serving, and thank you for your patronage.
All right. Any public comment on that report? This is normally when we put in Locke merchants.
No public, thankfully business is up a little bit. As I said before, this whole summer was abysmal. I've talked with Clarence, and he said in all the years that he's done business here, he's never seen so few people in town. They're just not there. I mean, there are parking spaces on the weekend.
Yeah.
Beautiful weather, but like I said before, many businesses, small businesses in small towns, it's exactly the same thing. People are not even on Main Street. They're just not around. So I'm talking with a couple of people about ideas to promote the town and the businesses here to get people back, hopefully. I loved the articles or the news, the two-part Ileton Locke on the Bay Area NBC, but it was great historically, but they just took signs of, or images of the signs of the businesses. They didn't kind of promote it as an active living town. It was more of on the historical area. So it would be great for future, to suggest, we need to keep our small businesses around. I'm also going to contact Good Day Sacramento again, because we had them out here a couple of years ago, and that was really great, and it did bring in some business. So.
Good. We got to get the Ghostbusters out here again.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that report. Agenda item number 18, report from OCA, Organization of Chinese Americans Representative, Daryl Wu.
I have nothing to report.
Any public comments? Board comments? Okay, report from CACS. Are you Locke Foundation?
I could actually mention that CACS created a calendar. Being the Year of the Dragon, they created a calendar that's reflective of recipes of different festivals throughout the year. And Joe has a copy of the calendar.
This normally would be done by Greg Jung. Thank you for that.
Oh, may I?
Recipes are very
Where can these be obtained?
I can actually provide some.
Okay,
Yeah,
great. I mean, are they
the Locke
for,
Foundation decided not to sell it publicly here. But I
Okay.
could, if you're interested, I could supply some.
yes, that'd be great, thank you.
Okay.
Maybe you guys could talk after the meeting. Okay, agenda item number 20, report from Locke Foundation representative.
Locke Foundation, we've been busy. On September 13th, I attended a town hall meeting hosted by Sac County Supervisor Pat Hume regarding transportation funding on roadways. On the 14th, President Walthall, members Prasa and myself, we attended a town hall, again at the Gene Harvey, and it's regarding water resources and other invited speakers, Sac County DA Tin Ho and San Joaquin County DA Ron Freitas. On October 28th, Locke Foundation was part of the second annual Golden Harvest Parade and Festival. We were in front of the state capitol with the parade and festival, which included vendors, stage performers, and art contests for students. Over 20 multi-ethnic groups performed on stage, and over 20 groups participated in the parade, including having 70 students from the UC Davis Marching Band and Pink Ladies Riding Group on horseback being present. On November 5th, Sunday, our Locke Foundation Oral History Project hosted a fundraiser luncheon. Very successful fundraiser for the documentary to raise money to have a documentary about the voices of the Chinese women in the Delta. It was held at the Lucky Jade restaurant. Over 270 people attended the event, and we raised over $11,000. So we surpassed our goal of 200 persons and a goal of 7,000. So this was attended by many of the Chinese American Heritage Network organizations, including some Sacramento Chinese-based community groups. Locke Foundation, we of course continue to network with different organizations. On October 4th, I attended a Yosemite pilgrimage that was sponsored by the Chinese Historical Society of Southern California, and learned about the Chinese contribution at the Yosemite National Park. So there's a new exhibit of the Chinese laundry in Yosemite National Park. Locke Foundation received a $21,000 grant, and it's with the California Arts Commission to conduct walking tours. It is an art project that grant writer Angie Eng and also President Walthall is working on. Included, Locke Foundation, we are planning for our Lunar New Year festivities, and it's scheduled for Saturday, February 24th.
Thank you, honey. We haven't firmly decided yet, but we probably won't have a street closure. We didn't last year for the Chinese New Year, but
Right.
what's special about this year, it's the Year of the Dragon, and not only are we going to have the lion dance, but we're bringing in the big dragon dance. That's where you get a whole bunch of people doing it. And we'll have demonstrations and lectures during that day. So hopefully it'll be a decent day for some business
Yes.
too, and we don't get rain. So, and again, that's the 24th of February. Do we have any public comment?
About,
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, how you doing, Stu?
Good.
Lydia.
about what? Who's your agenda item?
Report from the Locke Foundation representative. Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 21,
I have a
report
question.
from Historic Preservation I'm
Jenny
sorry.
had a
So
question.
the
I'm
children
sorry.
in the field, or is that happening at for the children, that usually, it used to be at Brock's and it's been at Mark's, is that happening this year?
The Angels of the
The
Field?
Angels of the Field, sorry, not Children in the Field.
No, there isn't the fundraiser in town this year.
Okay,
We are staging the Christmas party at the Gene Harvey.
oh, okay.
We were really fortunate this year that La Raza and La Familia stepped up and kicked in a lot of money.
Great. Great. That was it.
Agenda item number 21, a report from Historic Preservation representative.
I don't have a report. I've been trying to renovate my store, so I'm
okay.
trying. That's it.
I wanted to have uniformity with all representatives. So
No, I love it. And I am getting I have been without anything other than my cell phone for more than a year now. No computer, no anything. I can't even download the agenda. I can't do anything. And so a friend is actually giving me a laptop. So I will be a full-grown modern adult here.
Okay, do we have any public comment? Okay, agenda item number 22, report from Sacramento County Board of Supervisors appointee, and Director Kirk is not here, so we could skip that one unless we have public, I don't know if we have public comment without a report.
You can still have it if you like it, but.
Anybody have any public comments from, on the report that we're not giving here? Okay.
I'll say sounds like a great report. We'll leave it to mystery. But
Do we have any staff update? Agenda item number 23.
Staff has no updates at the moment.
Pardon me?
No updates.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item number 24, director comments, reports, and announcement. Do we have any director comments, reports, and announcements?
I will just, I guess, recap what I've signed up for, so that it's
That would be great.
Everybody remembers, including myself. So one is, I signed up to be part of the election commission with you, Stuart, nomination committee with you, Stuart, Joe, and Ginny. I said I'd draft a letter to Sacramento County roads about the gravel area out here, and see if we can get an update from their guy that showed up a couple meetings ago. What's going on when you're coming out here to pave the road, people? Then some draft letter to either the Public Utilities Commission or Frontier or both about the adequacy of the communications lines between the pump house and the public switch telephone network, which would include connection to the fire department in Walnut Grove, and presumably also the fire suppression system. And then also a letter to the State Water Resources Board with regard to why it's now November, nearly 11 months after their last letter to us saying they were going to assume control, or some sort of administrative leadership of the Locke Water Works. And I guess, where's the bottled water, and when are the trucks showing up to start fixing the place?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
May I ask?
If you don't mind, what does Al's do about their drinking water? Bottled water.
Crystal Geyser, if you want water. I mean, you can drink it out of the thing. We also have a filter. We have a reverse osmosis filter on the ice machine and on the guns.
Yeah.
So it doesn't solve all the taste problems, but like if you get Diet Coke or whatever, you're not getting the.
And it doesn't, you can't filter for arsenic, is my understanding. So when I worked there, if I saw a pregnant woman who wanted a bunch of water, I would say it's probably not a good idea. Let's get you some bottled water. I was always a little worried about especially some people will drink a lot of water, and it's worrisome.
Daryl?
Eric, can we get copies of that letter and place them?
Oh yeah, I would not. My plan was to, I guess, like I don't want to cause any Brown Act problems, but the idea is I would just put a draft together for people to see. I don't want to be. I want it to come from the LMA or L.M.C. Sorry, not from me. So Daryl, if you want to add comments or suggestions or fix mistakes that I make or whatever, that's totally fine. So I can send it. I don't know how should actually Manuel. How do we do that?
So
To avoid Brown Act problems.
it's not in
Did the
regards.
executive board send it?
Right.
That's
You
three.
can definitely have a discussion amongst the executive committee about the letters, but you're not speaking about items that are going to be on future agendas specifically. You're just addressing letters to an entity.
Yeah. Things that we've talked about on the public record here.
Right. You can do a blind copy for review. That's usually what I recommend. This way it doesn't have, a lot of things can arise from a discussion. You might be talking about one thing and it leads to another, then you can possibly get into the Brown Act violation.
Sure. Okay.
So I'd recommend a blind copy and just a review.
Okay.
So long as you're not specifically talking about items that are forthcoming and what your decisions are about those items,
Yeah, this is mostly requesting information from folks that committed to get back with us and we haven't heard from,
Right,
or to where
right.
there are outstanding issues vis-a-vis
Correct.
the water system or the
Correct.
telecom or whatever.
And I can always run it by my supervisors to, if I want to get more nuance, but I mean,
Okay.
you're not discussing agendized items, you're just discussing, you know,
Yep.
like a letter that you're putting together.
Okay, great, thanks.
That wasn't my question. My question
I'm
was.
sorry.
That's all right. Can we get the final letter that goes out and maybe place it in the back of the agenda?
We should, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I beg your pardon.
It's all right.
Should we triage
too
these
much.
4 things, Eric?
Sorry?
Should we triage these 4 things? I guess the nomination committee would be, because we're going after that right now.
That's fine.
Okay, we can get the template for the regular, you know, the nomination form, but the letter that would go with it.
I think we have like, because I was on the committee last time for the
Yeah,
seats that didn't get filled because nobody was wanting to be,
I've got the package.
okay, yeah.
good. All right,
They've got to be
thank you.
updated. They've got to be updated with dates and things, yeah.
Okay. Agenda item 25, matters not on the posted agenda. Do we have public comments?
Eric, I would suggest 5105 to guide you through that nomination process, and gonna need third-party inspectors of election and a timeline in order to do it within about 5 months. I have questions that you probably won't answer, and if I put them in writing, you probably won't answer, but I would like to point out that your balance sheet shows a $330,000, $980 income, net income showing at the end of October 2022. I believe that directly relates to the home that I sold in Walnut Grove that you folks reported that BPE Law Group was paid that very similar amount. I thought it was $329,980. This is $1,000 off from that number. That's a lot of money. It's the biggest number that this corporation association has ever shown on any budget report, and I have yet to get a receipt from you for my payment from the escrow of that property. That was December 21 of 2021. Mr. Prasa, your name was on the bottom of that escrow payment, your signature. I would like to have a receipt from my payment of that money. Thank you.
Any public comments online?
I have no comments online.
Okay. These are public comments, but I'm going to open it up if the board has any comments. Okay. I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
Okay.